Happy Victory Monday, folks. Today's video, we're going to get into Sam LaPorta doing really good. We're going to talk about him. Frank Ragnow, it looks to be, we got lucky here, and according to Dan Campbell, it looks like he may have not gotten a major injury. That's great news for the future of the offensive line. We're going to get into Bruce Irvin making an immediate impact, and we're going to get in discussion here about Aaron Glenn. And this one's going to get heated. I already know, and I want to see the comment section blow up and have a friendly debate here on this one. Let's go. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Again, we're doing Lions content all the time. That's all we do on here from a fan perspective as well as former player and Herman Moore. Let's show some love first before we get into some bad stuff here. Sam LaPorta, he's fourth right now in the NFL with tight end numbers at 679 yards reception. He right now is on a Pro Bowl level. He should be into the Pro Bowl, even though, look, we know Pro Bowl is a popularity contest. It's about who you know, all of that. But when you look at the numbers, the guy is playing at a Pro Bowl level. There's no doubt he's going to make the all-rookie team as a tight end. There's no doubt that he is going to be one of the best tight ends for the future in the NFL going forward. You see, the Kittles of the world, who has been really good for a really long time, still really good. And you're seeing Kelsey's, but now you're going to see LaPorta here is emerging as one of the future tight end in this league. And I must say, Brad Holmes, phenomenal job getting Sam LaPorta in the draft. I didn't want to get a tight end. Guess what? I was wrong, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And we're going to talk about LaPorta here in a little bit, just kind of a little bit different, though, when we get into the Aaron Glenn situation here in a moment. But, look, shout out to Sam LaPorta. This guy, just like Jared Goff was saying, he says he's not acting like a rookie at all. He's a veteran. He trusts him 110%. You can see the passion on Jared Goff's face when he talks about Sam LaPorta. And he is. Sam LaPorta, very smart, intellectual. He knows how to put his body. He's a veteran out there already. A veteran out there. Awesome to see. The future is so bright for Sam LaPorta and this football team, and the offense is so bright with having such a young stud tight end in him that, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see we got one of the best tight ends in a long time coming out into the NFL. So it's really great to see a second-round pick, and it just tells you right there, you don't have to draft a tight end in the first round. You don't have to. You can find guys in the second round, i.e. Sam LaPorta, and it turns out real well. It looks like Frank Ragnow has avoided a major injury. That's what Dan Campbell said. We'll know more today. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, we'll know the extent of the injury. I'm going to assume it's probably week-to-week. Knee injury here really sucks for the offensive line. If you're watching the game, we are running the football great. Frank Ragnow gets injured. We couldn't run the football great at all after that. We have a problem with the ability of our starting offensive line to play together. I've just never seen anything like this. We get a guy in John Jackson, we lose a guy in Frank Ragnow. We get a guy in here, we lose another guy. It is terrible luck, but he avoided a major injury, it looks like, at this point, and that's great news for when the Lions are making a playoff run. Probably not going to play against the Bears. I'm just going to assume so right now. Graham Glasgow will come in, and then we'll figure out who's going to be the guard, whether it be Sorsdale or Wushika, whoever it's going to be. Thankfully, we do got a Graham Glasgow who's universal and can play that role. It is good to have him, but it sucks because you move him off right guard, and now there's a hole at the right guard position, so we'll probably have to run to the left a little bit. They lost Frank Ragnow mid-game, so it's tough, to make that type of adjustment, but now knowing the fact that he's probably not going to be playing, they can practice all week of how they're going to run the football. But rest up, Frank Ragnow. Happy that right now, as we know, that it's not a major injury, because that would be brutal to the Lions football team. It would be absolutely brutal to lose him for a long time or making a significant injury. Bruce Irvin comes in too. He played 11 snaps, 16% on defense here, a sack, and he hit the quarterback hard, drove him down for a penalty. I'm not going to really get on Bruce Irvin for that. He hasn't played in a while. So he's a little bit amped. And look, it is a penalty. I think the penalty itself is dumb, driving the quarterback down, but that was classic, driving the quarterback down. They're going to throw the flag every time for it. Bruce Irvin made an impact immediately for the Lions. We need somebody to step up, and he stepped up, and that's really good. But again, I want to caution you, the offensive line for the New Orleans Saints is not good. They're in 27th ranked offensive line, so be that as it may, Bruce Irvin made an immediate impact for the Lions defense, something that we haven't seen in a while opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, who has had a slow start to this season. We needed somebody. He stepped up. It's good. What is the future here of Bruce Irvin? Not future next year. I'm just talking about this year. The Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos. I think he'll get more snaps, obviously. Don't want to overwork the 36-year-old. Don't want to do that. He's got fresh legs. Let's not overwork him. James Houston type of role. Perfect, I think, for Bruce Irvin here. That's what he needs to do. Passing downs, throw Bruce Irvin on there, and let him get after it. He's got fresh legs. He's fast. He is a veteran. He's savvy. Happy that he's on this football team, and happy that he's getting it done. We'll see what he can do versus the Chicago Bears, but I suspect he got 11 snaps in this last game. He'll probably get 15, 16 snaps in the Chicago game, and that's what I'm going to assume around there is probably be his game production on the passing down, so we can keep the 36-year-old fresh. Remember, he's a little bit old here, so you don't want to overwork him, especially with the playoffs right around the corner. So keep him fresh for that, and we got somebody else that can get after the passer. We needed it in big time. Now, I know there's a lot of people that do jokes about Bruce Irvin, AARP and all that stuff, which is funny. But at the same time, hey, he's stepping up. Shout out to Bruce Irvin, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. Just keep it up. We need it big time. Let's get into the topic here of Aaron Glenn, and this one is, I don't even know why this is a touchy subject, but it is. We have come to this point now where you cannot criticize anybody. It feels like sometimes criticizing, it's like you can't do it. And, talking about Aaron Glenn, it's getting to the point where there's a lot of individuals and people out there that simply will not blame anything on him. Not saying that it's all Aaron Glenn at all, but there was in a conversation in the chat on another feed, and they're saying that it's not on Aaron Glenn at all. We have 0 defensive players. Brad Holmes have not drafted or gotten any help to the defense. That's not true. Now, the players are underperforming. That's 100%, but we have spent a lot of draft capital on defense and free agency. We have spent it. It's just not coming to fruition. These players are not stepping up. We have terrible pass rush. To me, that's not on Aaron Glenn, and that's a big problem for this defense. You got to have players that can sack the quarterback, and when you can't get to the quarterback, the defense looks bad. But at the same time, you have watched this. We are right now, since the Baltimore Ravens game, the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. We're allowing 29 points per game. The New Orleans Saints didn't even get 21 points all season, and they put up 28 on us. And if Derek Carr didn't get injured, they probably put up more. That is a problem that must be fixed. They're not going to fire Aaron Glenn this year. I'm not calling for his firing. But I think after this season, they got to. We got 5 more games to go, and then a playoff game or more. I think absolutely he needs to be judged on these games. Look, I think that Anthony Lynn should be rolling in his bed right now, because after the first season of Anthony Lynn, we removed his play calling halfway through the season, and then we fired him after the season because the offense wasn't producing. He wasn't utilizing his weapons correctly, as they should have done. Ben Johnson comes in. He gets players like Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, who is let go by the Titans, they're starting to do well. St. Brown started coming to do well. He utilizes his players correctly. He knows the strengths of players and he knows the weaknesses, so he utilizes the strengths and try to cover the weaknesses. Brock Wright was looking really good last year. Ben Johnson knows how to utilize his players and put them in positions to succeed. Aaron Glenn's having real problems doing that. Real problems. Doesn't matter if it's man coverage, if it's zone, there's problems on the field. Jerry Jacobs should never consistently be on a number one wide receiver. We know his weakness. So utilize him differently. And if that's not the case, you're still doing bad, bring up Stephen Gilmore. Try something different because what is taking place is not working. That is the problem here with Aaron Glenn. A lot of people have fault for this defense. Brad Holmes, I believe, and I think a lot of people should believe, that we probably should have traded for like a Chase Young at the trade deadline, a pass rusher, get a pass rusher. Now we got Bruce Irvin off the couch, and I like what he's done so far. But to me, that's an admission that you have not gotten this pass rush much better. Also, there has been issues with drafting. Levon Uzurike is healthy scratch. That's a second-round pick. Joshua Pascal, he's getting a little bit better, but it's a second-round pick. You want to see more production out of that. Aiden Hutchinson's kind of having a little bit of a slump here, right? He's not producing as the way we want to see it. The second overall pick. Okay, you got Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara. They're not doing anything. There has been problems with player personnel, and to me that is on Brad Holmes. I still think Brad Holmes is an amazing general manager. Probably should be GM of the year. So it's not all on Aaron Glenn. But at the same time, allowing year one, the 32nd ranked defense to end it. Okay, year one. Year two, 32nd ranked defense. Year three now, since the Ravens game, we're the worst defense in football. At some point, it's got to give, right? Something's got to change. And I think he should be graded with the games going forward. Again, I'm not saying he needs to be fired right now. But absolutely, he should be feeling the heat. It's all about production. It's all about results. And if you do good, you get praise. If you do bad, you get heat. And I don't like the fact if you talk about the defense, everyone said, well, Brent Johnson hasn't done well lately. Yeah, he's absolutely made mistakes. But that's not apples to apples here. Okay, that's not. Ben Johnson has a history of being really good offensively and putting up points. Aaron Glenn has not shown much at all. And so we got to get better production out of these players. And I don't know what the answer is. Again, I don't think that it's going to get too much better because the pass rush ultimately is a downfall, and that's going to hurt the rest of the defense. I think you're going to have to go in the offseason and blow up on defense, right? Draft edge, get an interior defensive lineman, right? Free agency, edge, cornerback. I mean, we got to get some players on this in this defense because there is a lack of talent, and it's quite large. But there's also problems with the coordinator, so he's got to get better. And you got the Chicago Bears and the Denver Broncos coming up here. Obviously, Minnesota and Dallas. Minnesota again. And then if we, in the playoffs, you have to change it up. Do something to make a change because what is happening right now is not working. And it's unacceptable. We should have a better defense than what we're seeing right now. With the talent that we got, I at least want to see in the 20s. And you could say, well, it's good overall right now. It's not bad because you're counting the first half of the season. The trend right now, the defense has been going down for a while, and it's got to trend upward. It's got to get better. Okay, so we got to get better. You can't allow this type of defense to continue because ultimately it's going to be the downfall of the team. And I get it. Again, this is year 3 of the rebuild. I understand all that, but I want to see better production out of this defense. It's got to get better. It's got to get better. And that's the bottom line. I don't know what else to say. It's just got to get better. and it is what it is. And everybody deserves criticism on this defense. Everybody involved deserves criticism here because it's all parties accumulating together, making it a soup of suck right now, and we got to change it. We have to get it changed before we head to the playoffs and play really good football teams. With that said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. With that said, folks, adios.